Hello again. So it is the course of data structure and algorithm. In the previous course, you already learned about the introduction of the data structure and algorithm, and you also learned a very basic Python, which is the hello world. And now we are going to continue with the Python primer. Python primer. It means we are going to do more things in the Python, and of course there will be many examples here, so I hope that you prepare with your Jupyter notebook so you can also join me whenever I type something, or if you have any difficulties to follow this course, I share the file to you and you can just take a look on the Jupyter notebook file. Okay. Let me start. This is the Python primer, and this is the course of data structure algorithm in the IME, or Industrial and Management Engineering Hub. As you might know, I already explained about the Python. Okay. In many fields, people say the Python is interpreted language. So the commands are executed through Python interpreter. It means the interpreter receives a command, evaluates that command, and reports the result to the command. A programmer will define a series of commands in advance and save those commands in a text file. Then the text file is known as source code or script. Okay. So in Python, the source code is conventionally stored in a file named .py. Okay, for example, if you make a file named demo, then demo.py will be the file name for Python. So for our course, we will use Jupyter Notebook. So you already know the Jupyter Notebook, and the file name will be extended the .ipynb. Here is an example of the program. Is a little bit complicated now. Of course, you will see all these things later. And let's do one by one. How can you understand this code? First, Python is an object-oriented. So we need to understand the objects in Python. The Python is an object-oriented languages, and the classes form the basis for all data types. And we are going to learn about the basic built-in classes in Python. Okay? So the integer, I guess if you already joined the computer programming class, you understand what is integer. Okay? So I will just try to review a little bit. Integer is a rounded number, or is this a natural number? 1, 2, 3, 54, 105. Okay? The number with a comma. Float class is for floating point values. So the number with the decimal is a real number. And the other built-in class is str. It's for the character strings. So if character strings, it can be very long or it can be also a single. So there is no distinguish between character and string like Java, but all will be regarded as string, even though it is only one character. So we need to understand the identifiers, objects, and the assignment statement. So the first time when we learn about the Python, of course you need to understand the identifier. The most important of all Python command is the assignment. The assignment is uh, you need to understand when programming language give you the assignment statement. In Python, is only giving the equal sign, okay, and the equal sign will be executed as the assignment problem. So for example, if we have a temperature and the temperature is a floating point object and with the value 98.6, so you can just give temperature equals to 98.6 like this one. Okay, so let's see if I have the temperature and it is a type of float. I know that it is a type of float. Then yeah, because I put 98.6, so yeah, Python can automatically know that it is a float. Let's see. I open the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, maybe I will just repeat a little bit about the last time. So we have hello. Yeah, this is the hello. So if I press shift enter, then it will be executed. Okay. So this is the first Python that I will do in course. Okay. So this is the Python in the markdown. Okay, this one. Temperature equals to 98.4. Okay. So if you make this temperature equals to 98.4, when you execute, there is nothing. Okay, none can be seen. Why? Yes, it is only assignment. Okay? So because it is only the assignment, okay, assignment only, then there is nothing to show. So if you want to print the temperature, then you can do with the print temperature. So by using this one, then you know that the temperature is a variable and the value of the variable is 98.4. Okay. So the same with the other things. If you want to make an identifier of number of students, okay, number of students equals to 5, then yeah, you can just assign 5 into the variable name number of students. So if you run this, then yeah, you will have number of students which is an integer. If you have the hello, if you want to assign the text, the first text is hello. Hello is string. Okay, why it is string? It is a characters, a sequence of characters. And if you want to print, then yeah, is hello. Okay. So the identifier, okay, the identifier in Python is case sensitive. Right? So if you already make the variable temperature with T and you want to get the temperature with big T, they are different. Okay? Identifiers can be composed of almost any combination of letters, numerals, and underscore characters. An identifier cannot begin with a numeral, and that there are 33 special reserved words that you cannot use as identifier. Those are the 33 the special reserved words, like false, as, continue, else, from, in, and etc. So those are the words in Python that you cannot use for making the identifier. So the identifier can be the variable, it can be the file name, and it can be anything that you need to identify later. So let's say if you already have the code, so I have the temperature with small t. So is it possible for me to print the temperature with big T? No, it's error. The error name is the name temperature is not defined. And yeah, you can make your identifier, it means the variable name together with the underbar underscore. So let's say this one, yeah, number 05 underscore of underscore programming equals 56. Yeah, that's fine. And if you can see here, there's an error. What is the error? It starts with number. So a variable cannot start with number. So if you start with number 05, number equals to 5, then it is error. It mentioned it is invalid token. Or if you want to make uh, this true, okay. So something is, yeah, is true, okay. Oh, this is about boolean, sorry. Okay, I will continue with this one. So if it is the language, you need to understand that the language is very dynamic. Okay. So there is no advanced declaration associating with an identifier with particular data type. If you learn Java before, you know that you need to mention what is the data type. Let's say it is the in Java. Okay, in Java, you know that if you want to make a variable x, okay, if you want to make a variable x, so you need to know what is the data type. Let's say you want to put as integer, then you need to put integer and it is x, and you can define a number. Let's say this is 5. Okay, then yeah, after you do this one, don't forget with the semicolon. Okay, then x will be a number or integer number because you define the data type. But in Python, it's different. So the identifier can be associated with any type of object. It can later be reassigned to another object of the same. So if you assign x to 5, okay, for now, and later on you want to explain that, okay, I want to change x not equals to 5, but I want to change the x equals to, for example, it is the integer number, and then you want to change later, for example, x equals to 7.5. Okay, so this is possible. Okay, when you have this new number, it means the new number will be assigned as float. The original number is assigned as integer. Although an identifier has no declared type, the object to which it refers has a definite type. So the Python can understand easily what kind of value that you assign. If it is a number 98.6, then Python can understand it is float. If you assign an integer number, then Python can understand it is integer. Or if you assign any string, then Python can understand that it is a string. After you understand the type, you need to understand about the objects. Okay? The object means you want to create an instance. We call it instantiation. The process of creating a new instance of a class is known as instantiation. And to instantiate an object, we usually invoke a constructor of a class. I will explain more about the class, but for now, let's think that I have a widget. Okay. Widget is a class, and I want to make an object. So an object W, the small w, is a new object, and this object will be the new object of widget. So this is assuming that the constructor does not require any parameters. So if the constructor does not require parameters, we might use a syntax such as W. We have three parameters, which is widget A, B, and C. Okay? If you understand the computer programming, I guess you understand this one. So many Python built-in class a literal form for designating a new instances. For example, if you have this temperature 98.6, okay, so it means it is a new instance. It is a new instance of the float class because you assign a float number into a variable temperature. So it is basically a new float class, a new float instance in the variable temperature. When you want to call methods, yeah, the same idea with the other programming languages, you can have two things. Okay, the first syntax is giving the variable inside of the parentheses. Okay? When you make the data or this value into the parentheses, so you want to make it as a function, and the data is the parameter of the function. Python classes may also divide one or more methods, also known as member functions, which are invoked on specific instance of class using dot. So if you have a class, okay, if you have a class and then you want to have methods, okay, so class and methods are combined. Okay, if you join the computer programming, I already explained that the class and methods are basically related, and you can use dot to express the method in a particular class. For example, Python list class has a method named sort that can be invoked with a syntax such as data.sort. So this particular method rearranges the content of the list so that they are sorted. So this is the method to sort. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the data that I have the class. So the data will do the sorting, and the sorting will check what is the data in this data class. So it will be sorted according to this method. The built-in classes in Python, some of them are immutable. Okay. So what is immutable? Immutable means the object of that class has a fixed value upon instantiation and cannot be subsequently be changed. Once you set a number, like say, for example, temperature equals to 1998.6, so it is immutable. So if you want to change it later, yeah, you can change the value, but the changes is according to the variable name. Okay? So you can see here the Boolean, integer, float is immutable. This is mutable sequence object, so it can be changeable. Tuples, string, and frozen set is immutable, but set and dictionary they are mutable. The class that might be interesting to see is the Boolean class. The Boolean class is used for logical Boolean values. You know that there are two of Boolean, true or false. And only two instances of that class are expressed in the literals, true and false. If you use the default constructor bool with a parenthesis, then it will return false. Python allows the creation of a Boolean value from non-Boolean type using the syntax Boolean and a value woo, for example. So the interpretation depends upon the type of the parameters. Number evaluates to false if zero and true if it is non-zero. If it is a sequence and other container type like string and list, equal to false if empty and true is non-empty. Okay, so it's different. Let's see. If I want to use the Jupyter notebook for this one, oh, I will not use this one. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, this is true. Okay. So the true is just true. If I want to assign true into one variable trial equals to true, so I can print trial. If trial equals false, then I can see this one. So the trial can be also regarded with some basic function, like for example 2 less than 3. So I know that 2 is less than 3. It is true. Then it's true. Okay, as I explained before, we have the Boolean. It is the built-in class. So if it is nothing or there is no parameter, then it will be false. If you have one thing or one condition that might be interesting for Python to check, so it will give the result as it is, so it is true. Yeah. The next will be the integer classes. The integer classes is designed to represent integer values with arbitrary magnitude. So the magnitude, there is no specific particular values. In Java, you may have some limit, like the integer is having like 32,000. If it is long integer, then it will be longer. So Python automatically chooses the internal representation for an integer based upon the magnitude of its value. If you are constructing a new instance integer with parentheses, it will return 0 by the default. So this construction can also construct integer value based upon an existing value of another type. Let's say, if you have f as a floating point and you want to change this floating point into integer, so the syntax integer of f will produce a truncated value. Let's see, integer 3.14. What is the result? 3. Yeah. Integer minus 3.9. What is the result? 3. Okay. So they want to get only the first number. They don't care about the rounded value, but they do care only the first number. Let's see. The constructor can also use to pass a string. Okay, it's very powerful. Let's see if I give integer with a single quote 137. Then this integer class can automatically produce integer value 137. Let's see. If you check this one, a equals to 5, then it is a number, then just a in equals 6. If integer 6, then it will show 6. Okay? If you, let's say, I'm going to make a new line, like say integer without nothing. Okay? That is cheap. Or if you want to make an integer and you want to assign it to a variable a, then a is 6. If you have your decimal number or float number, integer 3.14, it will be 3. So the first number will be printed. The same as integer 3.95, the first number will be printed. And if it is a string 135, then you can see the number 135. So the float class, yeah, this is the next after the integer class, is almost similar with the other classes like the integer and boolean. So the class is floating point with equivalent of the integral number 2 that can be expressed like 2.0. Okay, or in other form, the floating point can be expressed in the scientific notation. For example, 6.022e23. So this symbol, this E, represent the mathematical value 6.022 multiplied by the 10 power of 23. So the E actually it is the exponent 23, which is from the 10 exponent 23. If you have no values for the float class, then it will return 0 or 0.0. If you have a value, integer value, then it will return a floating point 2.0. And the same as the integer class, when you do the conversion from string, like say this one I float with a single quote 3.14, it will return 3.14. Okay, so let's see. The float without any parameter, it will return 0.0. If I give an integer number, then it will give float 3 float 3 equals to 3.0. If I give a string, then it will result a float number after the conversion. Okay. The next is about the list. What is list? Okay. List is used to store a sequence of objects. That is a sequence of reference or pointers to objects in the list. The elements of a list may be arbitrary objects, including none. Yeah, it means you know arbitrary object, so it can be anything. So it can be number, it can be string, it can be float. And lists are array-based sequences, and a list of length n has element index from 0 until n minus 1. So the starting of index in a list is 0. Lists have the ability to dynamically expand and contract their capacity as needed. So when you have a list, you can add, and you can add. Python use character square bracket. Okay, I can say this is the square bracket, and the square bracket indicate the list literal. Okay, if this one used, then it is a list. So the list will be empty if you put nothing inside. But if you put three objects, for example, red, green, and blue as a string, it is a list containing 3 string instances. If you put a list as empty, then yeah, it is an empty list by the default. If you put a string inside of the list, then it will give the iterable, we call it the iterable parameter. So the character will be individualized according to the character. For example, list hello. So in the list hello, it will distinguish the word into H, E, L, L, and O. So let's see. If I move this list, yeah, so I have red, green, and blue. I have list one, so let's print. I can see the red, green, and blue. If I use the list empty, okay, and yeah, it is empty, nothing in the list. So if you are using also list with the parenthesis blank like this, so it shows nothing. Okay. However, if you put the string inside of the list, then it will distinguish into several characters. The next is about tuple. The tuple is an immutable or unchangeable version of a sequence. It allows instances to have initial representation that may be more streamlined than that of a list. So in the tuple is a kind of internal representation rather than a list, which is uh, editable. So the empty tuple is just a parenthesis, and when you want to express the tuple as a one literal, the comma must be placed after the element, but within the parenthesis. So let's say if I want to have the 17 as the one element tuple, don't forget to put comma, so it can be expressed as the length one. Okay, let's see if it is the tuple. Okay, at 1, 2, 4, 7. Okay, so the tuple can be expressed in this form. If it is list, yeah, you can also with the 1, 2, 4, 7. Yeah. If you want to check the list now, yeah, maybe you will give questions. What is the difference between tuple and list? Okay. So if you access the list, okay, list index 2, okay, as I mentioned before, list is a kind of array. So the index can be started from 0, and if you want to access the list in index 2, then it means the value of 4. But what about if you have to check the tuple? Okay. Oh, okay, it's the same. In the tuple, index 2 is 4. Now, I want to change the index 2 in the list. So we have list the index 2. Now, if let the value equals to 9999, and when you type the list, well, now you can see the element in index 2 becomes 9999. What about tuple? So if you want to change the value in the index 2 of the tuple with 9999, then it is error. Because as I mentioned before, this tuple is unchangeable. So you cannot change the value. Okay. Okay, so I think I will break this first, and I will continue with another video to explain about the remaining of the section. Okay, please stay with me with another video. Thank you.